Okay, right, it's 8 o'clock. Let's get going because in the interest of time, I know we got a really full program. So yeah, I drew the short straw and had to host today. So thank you, Ian, for handing over the leadership um, baton. Today we're talking all about who we are and why we are and how to position you as a speaker in the marketplace. And it's something that we kind of looked around. We've had quite a lot of technical evenings. We've looked at the various skills. We've looked at how to use the hardware and the software and how to use us. But it's all about where we are and leveraging that into the market. So we've got a series of talks coming up on positioning, and tonight we going to little focus is going to be a little bit of an open heart surgery, I suppose. So if it hurts, well, welcome. If it doesn't, then get out of denial and let it hurt, because it's all about introspection and stuff. So I found this little saying here just to kind of kick off the mood for the evening, and it says, to be no one but yourself in a world which is doing its best to make you just like everybody else means to fight the greatest battle that there ever will be. So getting to know yourself is definitely one of the stuff. It's what a lot of us do. A lot of us are kind of coaches, and whether you're coaching in any field, there's always that soft skill. There's always that time of time where you go a little bit deeper into individuals' lives. I have a whole box of tissues constantly on my coaching table, and it's not by any accident that we make people cry. It's kind of because that's where we go, and I think it's places that we need to go, and we need to be able to share openly and to be able to sort of go that. So they say the best relationship you can ever have is with yourself, and I think that's a really, really great place to start. But before we rip off the band-aid and get into the nitty-gritty, let's welcome. All right, and Wilmien, who's leading the rest of the session, over to you to introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you, Bruce. Yes, a very quick introduction, but first, thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you tonight. I'm sure there's many different frameworks of what we are talking about, but I'm very excited to be here and to share with you what's on my heart and on my mind. So I'm Wilmien Davis. I'm an executive and team coach, and I want to position myself to do more keynotes. I'm very new on the keynote thing, and I'm learning, but I'm very excited about that. So let me share my screen with you. And I'm in Vanderbijl Park, and we don't have any castles to look at, so that is why I've added a castle for my background. So tonight we talk about, presentation mode. Who am I? And as Bruce has said in his introduction, this is really part one of 3 or 4 series that we want to do on positioning yourself, and different people will present different parts of that. But it's to position yourself in the marketplace. So why does it matter to know who you are? And you saw on Facebook and on the online WhatsApp group, I've added a lot of things already to try to make the point. But at our Omfos score meeting, the whole idea came out to say we can market as much as we want to, but if we do not have something of essence to give, marketing is not going to help. And I'll show you a few frameworks why that is also true. But I would like you in the chat box quickly to say, how well do you think you know yourself out of 10? So a number 1 means, oh, I don't know myself at all. And then on the other side, the number 10 is perfectly well. So if all of you can just in the chat box quickly show me, out of a 1 to 8.254. I love that. Okay. How well do you know yourself? An 8, a 7. Well done. 8. Cool. Let me type in something here. I think I'm 5. Granny B, 6.5. Cool stuff. Rowan 8. Yeah, very high scores here. I don't know, my chat box is now taking over my screen. Great, so I'm glad to see there's no 10, because I will argue that a 10 is probably not easy to get ever in our lives, but we'll get there. So I want to start with Kay Putnam. Some of you know her as the brand Archetypes. I've recently stumbled on her after Charlotte showed me. And very interesting thoughts that she has. And you can see this picture of a lady trying to chip away her old self into her new self. And what does Kay say? She says for brand building, it's a process of looking inward and removing everything that doesn't communicate the best version of yourself. And there I love what Bruce also said, how he's going to eliminate certain things in his life. And this is what this picture of this lady chipping away saying. Chipping away all the things. I had an interesting chat with Charlotte recently. Most of you should know Charlotte. And she also said she had to learn how to say no to many things. And that reminded me of of a quote that I heard from John Maxwell, where he said, say no to the good things so that you can say yes to the great things. And that quote helped me a lot, because there's so many good things out there, but then my attention gets everywhere. And really go look inward, as Kay says, and then remove everything that's maybe good, but that's not great, so that we can get to that great version of ourselves. And then Dawn Klatsko has also presented on this forum. She's heading up the Art of the Suit, and she had this wonderful virtual presentation that is on all the, you can get it, it's on YouTube, where she explained to us as well. And one thing she said there that stuck to me was the genius is in the understanding about your personal brand and who you truly are. And that is really the message and the detail that we want to go into tonight. But for now, as we said, I'm going to hand over to Brant to give us a little bit of an icebreaker, and I think part of the ideas as well to show how can we as online speakers use creativity in an online matter to connect to our audience.
Right, so let's start. The title of my presentation is There Is No Spoon. That is a Matrix reference, which I'm not going to now, but if you want to know more, you can always email me or just shout out, hey you, I'll listen. The idea is thinking more creatively. Everybody is creative. I don't care where you are, I don't care who you are. You are born creative. Just look at children. You don't tell a child how to play, how to walk, how to dance. They know these things instinctively. Yet somewhere along the line, we tend to forget. It sort of gets trained out of us, creative thinking. And the thing is, we get pushed into holding the line, into walking the line, staying within the line, drawing within the line. And that's so bad, because that means that we stop thinking. We just want to fit in. We look to the left, we look to the right, and everything we do is measured by the people around us. And so yeah, we become the average of the 5 people we spend our time with. The problem is that if everyone is thinking the same, then somebody isn't thinking. The fact is, it's rules. It's rules, it's rules, it's rules. It's constantly telling you, you can't do this. And then we start imposing these rules on ourselves. The fact is, you don't have to follow other people's rules. You don't have to follow your own rules. They're your rules, you can break them. Okay, that's just a quick way of saying that you don't have to follow other people's rules. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You can find your own way. You can think differently. You can think more. You can think up. Everything is up to you. So I want you to firstly unmute yourself, because I need to hear you, if you'd kindly. All right. So I want you to try and add up the following without using a calculator, without using pen and paper. want you to add up these numbers as quickly as possible. Take 1,000, then we're going to add 40, now we're going to add another 1,000, now we're going to add 30, going to add another 1,000, add 20 more, and another 1,000, and now add 10. Okay, everybody got that? Yay, nay, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, right. Who got to 5,000? Yay, nay, maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay,
No.
that's nice.
100.
No,
No.
It's not.
I
It's
agree.
not
I disagree. It's 4,100. It's 4,100.
It's
Yeah.
4,100.
Yep.
This happens because we take shortcuts in our thinking. We go with our gut instinct because we tend to follow in a pattern.
Yeah.
And so that 10 we just automatically assume because we had 1,000, we just automatically add somewhere in our minds that it's another 1,000. We fall into patterns of behavior. And creative thinking skills, tools, techniques, the things that I teach, it helps you get beyond that. It helps you think more, think better, and move up in life and not just on with it. Quickly get a pen and paper for the second exercise, if you'd kindly. Just let me know if you got something. Woohoo! Go, Wilmien.
You.
You, okay. Anybody else?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah, Ian's gone digital. Well done. Okay. All right. What I quickly want you to do is copy down these 6 squares. Doesn't have to be perfect squares, just anything can do.
Mhm.
Okay, you got it? Nice. Everybody else?
Yes, got it.
Got it?
Got it.
Got it? Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to divide each square into 4 parts.
Mhm.
Okay, you done?
Done.
Everybody done? Okay. Chances are most of yours are going to look something like this. Yay or nay?
Yes.
Yes? Anybody else? Anybody else?
No. No.
No? Okay, good.
No.
Excellent. Right. We have a tendency to draw within the line because that's just what we've been taught since kindergarten. How many of you went actually outside of the lines?
Yes.
Yes? How many else?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah? Nice. Well done. We tend to fit inside the lines because that's just what we've been taught. We don't draw outside the lines, color within the lines, hold the line, stay in line, sit down, shut up, listen to me, I'm the only one talking now. And that's so bad for creative thinking because now we're just thinking what everybody else is thinking, we're just trying to fit in, just trying to hold the line, and we never try and explore anything more, anything better, anything that is beyond what we thought we could be or could possibly achieve. How many of you did something like this?
Yep.
Yes.
No? Who else? Who did something like this? Let me see.
Me.
Well done,
Me.
Rowan. Okay, since you've been into workshops with me like 15,000 times, I'm not surprised.
You see.
Okay, well done. Right, so there's more than one way to do anything. But we tend to focus on what is easy, these mental shortcuts, these shortcuts in our creative thinking. Just because it's easy doesn't always mean that that's just the one way that can do it. Now, shortcuts are easy and they're nice and they work for a reason. Because we tend to focus so much of our energies on everything else around us that we need to take these little shortcuts. But when we're trying to achieve something beyond what we thought we could, we need to start really and employ what I call omega level thinking. It's like really like supercharged level thinking. And we just don't do that because we tend to assume things, because we've been taught to stay within the lines, because we've been taught that this is the way, that's the only way, and there's nothing else to it. As speakers, as trainers, as coaches, I don't care what business you're in. If you want to succeed, you need to start thinking creatively. You need to think what else, where else, how else, with whom else. Reach out and touch someone, not like that. It's important to get different perspectives. Okay, here's another one. What color is this dress? I know it sounds like a stupid question, but it's important. Okay. Who says gold and white? Who sees this as gold and white?
White with gold straps.
Right. Anybody else? It's not a trick question. I just want to know.
It's white with gold
Who sees this as gold and white?
I was just say for me, it looks like gold and white. Smurried.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
White and gold.
It's not
This is
gold, it
black
is
and blue.
avocado green.
Okay. This is black and blue. Anybody? Are we really all seeing the same thing?
I can see blue.
Yes, so someone actually sees blue.
There's gold, the gold and the light blue.
Okay, gold and light blue. Right, so I did this exercise today with Rowan and Spar. Some people see this as gold and white, and some people see the exact same picture at the exact same moment as black and blue. And then when they hear that someone right next to them sees it as a different color, they tend to argue. It's like, how can you possibly see it as a different color? Are we looking at the same thing? Yes, you're looking at the same thing. It's the same picture, the same time, the same way. But because we have different experiences, we've had different lives and different mental perspectives on things, we are different people. Surprise. We think differently. And that's not a bad thing. It's a very, very good thing, because we tend to take mental shortcuts. We tend to think the easy way out. But the easy way out doesn't lead us very far. We have to engage with other people, because other people see things differently than we do. I can only see things my way. I can only think what I think. I can't see things like Ian sees it. I can't think what Unita sees or thinks. I can only think what I think. I can only share my experiences, my training, my thoughts, my passions of thinking. Okay, so this is a say what you see exercise. Now, for those who follow me on Facebook and have seen this before under the Walk Speak Creativity, then shout it out. Okay, so this is a headline from 2007, I believe, for a digital product that was released. Okay, so this makes up a newspaper headline. Right, so you need to be unmuted so I can actually hear what you are saying. Okay, so what's this? What's happening here?
Looks like a doctor
Right, what they're doing?
doing a
Checkups, okay.
DNA
how do-
taste or something.
DNA test, okay. What do we do instinctively when someone goes and say, put this in your mouth, and then they say, okay. Right, so what's happening here?
Toe track.
Okay, sorry, what?
They're
Toe
pulling.
track. They're pulling rope, yeah. What's it
Pulling,
called?
right,
Tug
okay.
of war. Tug of war.
Tug of war, okay. So what they are physically doing is
Trampling mud.
trampling mud. That's good. Right. Okay, so they are doing a physical activity and they are
Pulling.
pulling. Okay, good, nice, excellent, fantastic. What's happening here?
Lift off.
A launch, a lift off, rocket ship going up.
I think I've got
Okay,
it
next
right.
one's pretty good. You think you got it? Okay. And this is a easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright, and this is a mouse pad in case you didn't know. Okay, so what's happening?
Apple launch iPad.
Launch pad. Okay, and that spells out Apple launch iPad.
Cool stuff.
Okay. We all see things differently. We all have different ideas. A DNA test, a medical exam, trampling mud. I love that. I've never heard that one. Okay, a tug of war, tow track, everything. Rocket launch, a notepad, a iPad, everything. But because we can share these different ideas, different perspectives, we can come up with more solutions, more answers to things. But because we've been told that, it's like asking for help is bad, do your own work, think of yourself, we never share experiences. We never ask to reach out and connect with other people. And so we sort of stagnate in our creative thinking. And because we only draw from one source, we eventually hit a creative burnout. I was like, I can't think of anything else. I'm just dead now in the water. But you know what? There's so many people out there who are ready, willing, and keen on sharing knowledge and experience. But we just don't ask them because we're afraid of looking weak or stupid or silly or anything like that. But you know what? I love silly. There's nothing wrong with silly. The stranger the idea, the better. It's easier to tame down an idea than it is to think up. So here is another one. But this time I want you to talk to yourselves and figure this one out. You have to unmute yourself and you have to talk. You have to come up with ideas. Talk to each other. Just throw out, what is this? What is that? That could possibly be something. Just
I
talk.
can't remember that blue character's name.
Okay, then skip it and try something else.
Isn't the first one Fonz? The Fonz?
That's Fonz, you're right. Famous for a particular...
The Fonz from Happy Days. Everybody else is too young to know that.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
For the first time in my life, I'm too young for something.
I skipped that movie.
Well,
That's
I
fine,
see
don't worry
a
about
button, and I say a
Right.
ring at the end. From Lord of the Ring. Is it Lord of the Ring thing or is it something else? I can't see.
Some
Okay.
alien thing with a halo.
9. It's a
And
Right.
9.
It's a 9.
Disc or save.
Okay.
Well, that's save. That
Save,
disc is
okay.
save.
What else?
Time saving.
The middle can be time or speed. I'm not sure. No, it's time.
That middle looks like Doctor Who.
It's Marietta. I wrote down it's time to save your energy. It's time to save energy.
Okay, that's nice. So I'll give you a little clue there. If you sort out a problem immediately, it may save extra work later, and this is a proverb.
Time to save for a holiday. It's
Time to
okay.
save for a holiday.
No,
Time to save.
I
Time
did the
saves
story
9.
for children. Something about no, yes.
Time saves 9. Ian has
Stitching
got
time
it.
saves 9.
What?
Okay, so this is Fonzie. The first one is
Time saves 9.
Okay, and he's famous for going, hey.
Oh,
Okay, that's
right.
like a thing. Hey, and then this little blue character is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, Disney film. Then there's a Holiday Inn, time, save, and then this is a movie called Planet 9. Okay, hey, Stitch in, time, saves 9. Okay, I love, because this is when things get crazy, because we can share different ideas. Now, someone else might not have seen the save icon and says, okay, it's like, I have no idea what that is. But someone else can say, oh, Holiday Inn, let's just take the inn. And everyone says, oh, it's time. Time saves ring, time, then someone else says 9. Time saves 9. Right? Someone might recognize Stitch and say, okay, Stitch in time saves 9. Someone, currently it's just me and Ian, recognizes Fonzie. Okay? It says, oh, he's famous for going, hey, Stitch in time saves 9. This is how we share. This is how we work through problems. We just share different perspectives, different ideas, different ways of doing things. And you'll be amazed at what you can come up with. Because we're so afraid of talking to each other that we just sit there and we never say a word. Instead of engaging. I don't care how crazy the idea is. I'd rather have a crazy idea than just sitting there and not saying anything.
But you guys were all going sequentially, and I
Yeah.
messed it up.
If you don't know it, skip it and then figure out the gaps later. Okay, you don't have to come up with all the answers by yourself. You've got a entire network of people out there, ready, willing, capable, able, keen. I don't care what other sort of adjective you like to put in front of it. They want to help. They want to share what they know. Sometimes I ask you for money, but if it's worth it to you, go for it. Okay. Okay. So, what did we learn on the show tonight, Brant? It's all a matter of perspective. When you go and you're trying to be more creative, when you're trying to come up with new ideas, new ways, new avenues to explore, perspectives is important. It's all a matter of perspective. Or to put it a different way, perspectives matter. We are limited in our experience, we are limited in our knowledge, and we are limited in our perspectives. But we can be unlimited with potential, with energy, with new ways of doing things, with new experiences, because we can share. I keep saying to people, learning from your own mistakes is good, but learning from other people's mistakes is cheaper. You have the ability to learn from other people's mistakes, and we've all made a lot of mistakes. Okay, I personally can verify that I've made a ton of mistakes. But I learn from them, and I'm willing to help other people avoid those mistakes. If you want to be more creative, connect with other people. See what you've already been doing and see how you can do it better. Ask yourself different questions. Look at things differently. Connect with others and see what they're doing. Ask them for help. Ask them to help you. Develop something. Implement it. Try it. If it doesn't work, that's okay too, but at least you did something, at least you tried. And finally, try and simplify it, because eventually you want to be able to repeat your results. As any good scientist will teach you, it's good to have simplicity. It's good to be able to repeat what you've been doing. We don't want, because a lot of us are self-employed, and it gets to a point where you just can't think of anything else what to do. But having a different perspective, having someone else there to just say, what if? And that's really where conversations should start. What if? So this was me. If you have any questions, complaints, whatever you want to throw at me, any sort of vitriol, I'm ready to listen. Just email me and we can start a conversation.
So yes, what a wonderful way to show how we can even bring creativity on in line, where most of us are so used to use creativity in a practical scenario with people around the table. So I love this example. Good, let me see if I does say. So let's continue with this question, who am I? And I love what Brant said. He said shortcuts are easy, but not necessarily creative. And I think the same with this journey that we are on who am I. Sometimes we just want to take a shortcut to get to that brand, but that does not necessarily mean it's a true creative brand, who you are. And I go through a rebranding quite often and bring in new elements as I go deeper and learn that. But a little bit even more about myself and context for tonight's session. You guys, some of you have seen that I have this podcast about passion, purpose, potential, and I've interviewed some of you, and I'm going to interview more of you on this thing as well on that. And that whole thing is with what I'm very passionate about and what I want to talk about tonight. You are totally unique. There's no one else like you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you were created for a reason. And all of that is part of who you are. And tonight's presentation, the little bit I'm going to talk to you about, is really a very condensed version of a bigger online training that I'm planning to put out that talks about unlocking your potential. Because I believe before you can brand or rebrand yourself, you must first go one level deeper in understanding who you are. Some of you said you're at a level 8. I always thought I'm at a level 9, but as I grow older and more mature, I realize I'm not really there. I'm actually still a level 5. And we can always go deeper and deeper, and I'm going to show you a few examples with people I talk to. And the one model I want to use is the Iceberg model. I love the Iceberg model. It teaches us so much. And there's so many different versions of the Iceberg model. But you know that the top of the iceberg that you actually can see is such a small percentage of who you really are. There's much more to who you are that's hidden in the deep, deep, deep waters. Now, the tippy top of the iceberg is our results. Like what we get in life. It could be clients, it could be the amount of money that you make in your business, and that is open for most people to see. But what supports the results? It's your behavior. For instance, how you market yourself, and sometimes behavior is a little bit under the water, close to the surface. Sometimes it's a little bit higher than the surface. But what drives the behavior? This is emotion. How do I feel about myself? But what drives that is what we think who we are and what we discover who we are. And that is the bottom, very, very deep end. So tonight I want us to go deep, to touch that lower level, because if we touch that lower deep level, it will start making the ball rolling, eventually to uncover more at the top of the iceberg, which is our results, our clients, and our money. But let me show you a different way to look at this. And this is gears. It's my engineering coming out. I've started with engineering before I tried this entrepreneurial business. And I can tell you, being an entrepreneur is more difficult than being an engineer. But then anyway, let's look at the gears. And you know, when I ride my bicycle, I have this big, big gear. And for me to turn this big gear takes a lot of effort. So what do? I take the smaller gear and I pedal on the smaller gear. That makes it easier to turn this very, very, very big gear. That's a bit more difficult to turn if that was the only one that I put my effort in. Now, the big gear is the outcomes that we are looking for. And the smaller gear is the driver. We call it the driver gear. So many times we try to move the outcomes. We try to get the clients, to get the money, to get more and more of that. And we work so hard at that. But that is the big gear. That is the one that takes the most effort. I want to say, if I can work on my driver, and in this scenario, I say the driver is who am I? If I can work more at who am I and uncover that, the rest of the things will become easier. And the middle gear, I didn't forget about it. I call it the link, and the link is my marketing. So the more and more I go deeper, the more and more I uncover this who am I, the easier automatically your marketing will come in place. And of course, there's tools. You need the gear of marketing in this bigger picture. But the marketing will become easier if who I am is understood much better. And that will automatically then lead to more outcomes, more clients, and possibly more money that we can ask. One of the examples I want to show you, and I only chose 2 examples for the time that we spent together, is Charlotte. And most of you know Charlotte. Those that don't know her, as you get more involved, you will see her. And she recently rebranded herself as the Future Alchemist. Look at that cool picture. And part of this whole rebranding, she also told me, Wilmien, I had to learn to say no to things. But what I love that Brant said as well, he showed us that to share and work together on a problem helps us to save the problem. And with this rebranding of hers, she told me that she had to book out a whole weekend and just do that introspective and consult 1 or 2 very, very good friends that she knew, which helped her to really uncover and put this together as a nice, neat package. She asked me to specifically mention how Bruce Wade has helped her in this journey. So well done, Bruce. Charlotte was really impressed with the help that you helped guided her in this journey. Another example that and why I give you specifically Charlotte and the next example, these are people who I think would have also said they know each other self 8 out of 10. But they still went deeper. They still went to uncover even more about who they are. And I think these examples that we're going to see is brands that comes out even stronger and it's going to get more clients there. So a second example is our mastermind leader, Mr. Ian Hutton, with the Morpheus Genius he showed you earlier. And he recently has also gone through a rebranded process. And we saw the beautiful places he went to visit and the wonderful groups he interacted with that helped him to really fine-tune this new brand of his. And those who hasn't seen his keynote, please go and look at it. It's It's really powerful stuff to look at. So the point I want to make with this is whether you are at level 5, level 2, level 9, you can always go deeper and come up with an even stronger brand. So in the chat box, just say, or you know what, no, with your hands, you know the little hands that you can do, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Are you ready to go deeper? And let us know if you don't know how to do that, and I've asked Ian to help us with the technology for those of you who don't do a thumbs up or thumbs down. I see some thumbs ups. I wonder if I can do my thumb. I don't think I can do a thumb. I'm willing to go deeper.
So if you click on participants, you get a list of participants, and there you've got the option of raising your hand and so on. And one of the last options is 3 dots. And there you've got the option of thumbs up, thumbs down, or wave, or I'm having a cup of coffee.
Wow, kijk net. You share that coffee with Bruce, it seems. The Cape Townians, I would have thought you had a glass of wine there, not necessarily a glass of coffee. Lovely, thank you guys. So it's mostly thumbs up, so I can continue. So you're going to have to bear with me a little bit longer tonight. So the framework that I want to use is your worldview. Now your worldview can be in a very dark room with a very small window that you look out, and you can have a very, very limited view of the world. Or you can have a slightly larger window, but there's still some bars between you and the world out there. Or you can have a worldview that's wide and open, where you can see all the oceans and as far as possible. And that worldview is part for me of the Johari window, because what is the window that you look out of in the world? And I love this tool, but I've expanded it to talk about the things that I'm doing as well. And the Johari window say, you know what, your life consists of these 4 windows, and all of us have all 4. So the top window, the left side of the windows is what is known to yourself. The right 2 windows is what's not known to you about you. The top 2 windows is what's known to others, and then the bottom 2 windows is what's not known to others. So you can see the window, what I know about me and what you guys know about me is the open window. You all can see I have grey hair, it's out in the open. But what is not known to me, but it's known to you guys, and that's the blind window, and I can't give an example because I will be blind for that. But you can probably see how I come over on the screen, which I can't because I focus on other things. It's not known to me. In the bottom left window, that is what's known to me, but I'm hiding it from you, and you do not know that from me. And that is the type of facade that we are putting up. And the last window we call the closed window, because that is not known to me and it's not known to you. But I renamed that window to say that is where your hidden potential is lying. Your hidden potential is lying in the closed window. It's not known to me. I don't know what my full potential is. And you don't know what my full potential is. And by the time we're going to uncover that, and how we are going to do that is what I want to talk about tonight. So let's look. If you have a very small open window, you see I've made that open window very, very small. I think it's like being in a jail and you are really packed into a little box and you haven't uncovered too much of yourself. But if your open window is nice and big, you have this beautiful world view that takes you out very far onto the oceans. So let's look a little bit more at the open window. The open window is where you are really your authentic self. And if you're your authentic self, people will trust you much more than they would otherwise. This is where our self-awareness is being uncovered and where we get so confident and comfortable with ourselves. This is where we experience total freedom of who we are. And the perfect example that I have of that is Mr. Nelson Mandela, one of the previous presidents of South Africa. But in the chat box, quickly tell me, who do you think is a very good example from someone with a big open window? If you guys can quickly take time to, I don't know how to open my chat box now. So I'm going to ask Bruce to help us reading the things. If I have the presentation open, I can't see my chat box. Bruce, can you read some of the...
Okay, we got Diana. I presume that would be Diana from London. Mother Teresa.
Yes.
Brené Brown. Another Princess Diane. Thank you for clarifying that. Anyone else?
I say thank you. Good example.
No politicians. Interesting. Gandhi.
Gandhi, yeah, that would be a good one.
Okay. Ian Hutton. Martin Luther King. Just group them together, yeah. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, and Ian Hutton, yeah. No, Unita, don't agree with you.
What did she type? I can't see, man. My chat
She's
box
typing Donald Trump.
Oh dear, no, no, no. I'll tell you where he fits in. Oh, cool stuff. Thank you. So what happens if we have this big blind window? And this is a picture I'm going to use. You know, all of us have this blind spot in the cars where we think we can see, but there's a certain blind spot which we really can't see, and we need that extra help, that extra little small mirror to see what's really there. And it's almost impossible to believe it until you really experience it, that there's actually this blind spot. Now, how does it look like? It might mean that you're oversensitive. Oversensitive where there's a trigger and you overreact towards the trigger that you've received. You could become very defensive in situations when people attack you, and some people can totally lose it. There could be some habits that you don't know about. Some you might know about, but some habits that you do not know about that's hidden from you. Or you actually hurt others. The other word that I heard for this big blind window is a bull in a china shop. He just goes in and he storms through and doesn't realize how many things around them gets hurt. I went through a stage where I was technically blind. It's a much longer story that one day I would love to share with some of you. But there I experienced how it felt to be physically blind. And you know, I brought that back to an experience of being emotionally blind, about being blind for myself. And there's so many impact of being blind. And that's what can happen with us as well if we are not open for these blind spots. But you know what? You can be blind for your strengths. And you will hear I talk about being unique. Ian loves to talk about unique. I am passionate about Strength Finder, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But you can be blind for the good things, not necessarily for the bad things. And it's wonderful to go and open up that window and see what are you good at, what makes you unique, and what makes you so special. Let's look at the big hidden window, the big facade window. And that is the window where you are putting up all these masks in front of your face. Why do we do that? We do that because we are scared. We are scared and we don't want other people to know we are scared. We do it because we have some insecurity. Or there's some shame due to things happening in our past that we don't feel comfortable sharing with other people. Or it can be some beliefs that we're scared people will judge us on. But it also can be baggage that we are bringing with us. But you know, it's not all bad, and I've seen that practically in my life as well. You can take all these negative things that you want to hide from others, that you're not ready to share with others, and you can flip them over to have a positive experience. It's amazing when sometimes you don't want people, I'm so passionate about believing ABC, and then you actually go out there and you tell it to people and you think, I'll take all the knocks out there. Like Brian said, come to me, come tell me what you think about this. And actually, as soon as you open up these things, people might come to you and say, wow, now I can relate to you. Now you really can understand what I'm going through because you are willing to share some of these things in your life. And you can actually make some people, it's a part where they kick off their careers by people relating to them, and they can share what they've learned on this journey of things that might not have gone that well, that they wanted to hide, but they had the courage to let go. And here I want to motivate you to, we heard Brené Brown as one person with a big open window. And if you go and look at the 2 fantastic TED Talks about being vulnerable, you will understand the value of being vulnerable and letting these things go. I can highly, highly recommend it. If I remember during the week, I will put it on our WhatsApp and on our Facebook groups as well. But all of this nice things for me, we hear you, but how do we go about unlocking your potential? Now, the thing is, with unlocking your potential, it's not diagonally going from the open window into this closed potential window. You will have to change your horizontal and your vertical. Sorry, Brant, I stay within the box tonight, but it's a beautiful framework to understand that. But bring that vertical, horizontal line down, bring it down and bring the vertical one to the right-hand side. And how do we do that? We do it by uncovering our blind spots. Now, some of the things we can look at uncovering our blind spots is to be open for feedback. It's so difficult to expose yourself. When I did this presentation, I asked feedback from a few people. And when it got to my husband, I was like, no, how dare you say these things to me? But it was all for the good. And it's very vulnerable sometimes to ask for feedback. Be honest to yourself. There's things that I knew that didn't fit. But I had to be honest about it. I wanted to, not necessarily to look it in the face, have courage to ask. And even sometimes, and I know Richard Morvey has this whole sales meeting where you say, ask for references and testimonials. Sometimes we need to have the courage not to only ask for our bad habits, for our blind spots, but also the blind spots of what we are good at and get that feedback from our clients to understand ourselves better. And there again, Strength Finder. I think Strength Finder is one of the best unique ways to go and uncover these talents that you have and how well you are managing them, or how far you are still to start to manage these talents and make them work for you. Then the other line is to drop your masks. How do we go about that? Have the courage to be vulnerable. And I don't want to say anything more than watching the Brené Brown videos on that. Have the courage to face your fears. Many times these fears are keeping us back. Some of you know about the podcasting, and it took me a whole year of thinking about podcasting before I did that. But why? Because I was scared. The technology felt overwhelming. There is so many parts of this puzzle that must be in place before you can get it there. And I was scared I can't do that. I was scared to telling people I'm going to do the podcast and then I can't deliver on my promises. And the first few that I recorded was difficult. It took me 1 to 2 days per episode to get it ready to publish. But now, only after 10, 11 episodes, I'm getting a bit of a rookie now. And it's getting easier. It doesn't take me that much time. And now when I think back about 6 months later, and I think, why did you think it was so difficult? But it takes courage to face that fear, to get over the first bump. Be honest to look at your beliefs. And as I explained, some of these beliefs can actually count in your favor. And then that is why I use coaching. And I think what Brant has mentioned and what we learned from Charlotte and so many people, that a coaching environment really is a safe environment to help our clients to drop those masks. Help them to be vulnerable in that and take it outside and face those fears and having a look, and help them identify the beliefs and have a look at them and how do we overcome that, or how can we use that further. Yeah, in conclusion, ek het nou nie eens na die tyd gekyk. Sorry guys, sometimes I go in Afrikaans when I'm thinking out loud. So in conclusion, break out of jail, break out of that small window and enjoy freedom of a big, big open window and authentic space. So we have talked about dropping your masks, have the courage to be vulnerable, face your fears, honestly look at your beliefs, and coaching is a great tool. We looked at uncovering your blind spots, how you can get feedback, being honest to yourself, have courage to ask, and Strength Finder, a great tool for that. And then a lot of pictures that we've added that might trigger something in you. So what I want us to do now is, please, around the masks, and Ian can maybe help us through that as well, make there's a tick mark that you can do with your annotation as well. Next to the mask, which ones resonate the most with you? Do a tick mark next to uncovering of blind spots. And if you want to, tick 1 or 2 pictures that resonated with you. So let's give a few minutes for that, and then we will carry on.
Okay, so if you go to the top of your screen where it says View Options, and you go down, there's an Annotate. And when you click on Annotate, it brings up a whole bunch of options. but one of them, if you hold it down, the one is the draw. Next to the T for text, there's a draw, and then there's a check mark option within that.
Cool. And what's nice, no one knows what you tick. Hey, it's all anonymous. So tick one mask, one blind spot, and 1 or 2 pictures. Either works for you. Oh, look at those masks. Great stuff. Oh, there's a tick between conclusion and freedom. Or it could be an accident. Let's go down the iceberg and we chip away all these parts. That's not us. And I loved what Brant also said, it's important to get different perspectives. And that is when we ask for feedback and we have courage to ask for that. We get all these different perspectives, and that also helps us to uncover these blind spots. Great. Thank you, everybody. Lovely. I'm going to clear everything here so that I can carry on with the presentation. Oh, now I don't know how to get mine done. Ian, I don't know how to do this now. I say I need to go out of my annotation. Great. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you everyone for listening to me. It was a condensed version, but for the sake of time, I think that was enough. And most of you have done this journey, so this is maybe a reminder. But I would like us to go out into breakout groups, and I'm going to hand over shortly to Bruce to help us to go there. And there's a few questions that I've popped on the screen, but these questions, all the core team members have them, either on your Facebook or on your WhatsApp group, that we can allow some time, and maybe Bruce, you can check the time available and how much we need to discuss this. Right, so Ian and Juanita, I'm going to ask you to give us quick feedback on what's happening to your groups. We are so sorry you didn't have enough time. I've tried to rush through my slides, but let's start with Ian. Ian, if you can give us a quick summary, or if you have indicated someone else in your group to give us some quick feedback on what happened behind the scenes. Me and Bruce were blind in this, so you must
You're allowed to come and visit, you know.
You must mess up this whole thing.
Okay, so very quickly from my group then, we only managed to focus on the blind spot areas. So we started off with where might we have blind spots. And yeah, there was something around technology. One of the ones that came up is the habit of saying yes to too many things. Saying yes to the good and at the cost of the great was a big one. That came through a lot, being true to self, the need to sort of stop and put boundaries up, that kind of thing. That was a big need, because we keep with that habit of saying yes to too much. And then in the who can we trust for the honest feedback, that was quite interesting, because we got a variety sort of communities. Karen shared about a coach community that she's part of, which give incredible feedback. I'm part of a similar one, which also has been astounding for me. And then Brant spoke about friends. We also had family. Karen, I think, has a brutally honest son who's given incredible feedback about your Facebook lives. Not always very pleasant to experience that, but yeah, I mean, that is the kind of thing we actually need, isn't it? I had one myself around my recent keynote that I wasn't entirely excited about, but it made sense when I gave it some time to brew, you know. And then the fears that hold us back from moving forward, we had quite a lot there come up. One of them is the opinions of others. That can hold us back. Getting hurt can hold us back as well. Brant even suggested growing beyond his capability is a fear of his. And we had a fascinating one from B, who said her fear problem is that she has no fear. which I thought was a fascinating idea, and I think a very interesting concept, because that in itself can be an issue. So that's as far as we got.
Wow.
That's great. Thank you. Anita, your group.
Well, we were less than you and we didn't even get that far. So we dug deep. We listened to Wilmien. We went deep. Okay, so basically what we did is we dealt with the first two questions, which the one was, where do you have blind spots? And it was very interesting because 2 out of 3 spoke about value, the value that you perceive in what you offer to market. So whether that is what you think people is willing to pay or are willing to pay, or whether it is what you see that, because it comes so naturally to all of us. As coaches, we tend to coach on stuff that we're good at. And because it's so naturally, you don't always value that. Other people do. So, and the third one was about realizing that the blind spot is when this person feels undermined, when this person doesn't feel valued, which brings it back to not feeling valued. So it was all about value, whether it's perceived value or monetary value. That was the biggest blind spot for us. The second one that we moved on to was target audience and potential clients. And again, very interesting finding here. 2 of the 3 felt that in our heads, the target audience and the potential client is very clear. But then when circumstances change, you might not necessarily have the right marketing message to reach those clients. So you know who you want to deal with, but your product and your service doesn't speak to them. And the third person was very clear. We actually said, okay, out of 1 to 10, what would you rate yourself? And 2 of us went very clear in our head, like 9, but practically not great. And the third person could rate themselves as a 7 out of 10 in terms of mind, and a 9 out of 10 in terms of practicality and reality. And what was very interesting in this, and I just want to, that's the conclusion I'm going to make because there's lots more, but the interesting part is on both these topics, the person that was more clear on the issue and what the next step is a person with a coach. And the other 2 have coaches and people surrounding them, but not formally. So more like a mastermind chat group, but not a formal paying engagement as a coach. And for me, that was, I don't know if any of them want to comment on that, but that was the summary I made out of that, is actually having that formal engagement where you pay for someone to give you the honest truth. So I don't know if someone wants to answer to comment from my group, want to comment and add something here.
Sure, I'd like to just say that I totally benefit from having Bruce Wade as my coach. And I've been in coaching for several years of my life. And I migrated from personal coach to business coach. And I can really say that a coach pulls you up to a level where you can't take yourself, period. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you everyone for that feedback. And on this coaching thing as well, we get different types of coaches and different quality of coaches. But I also say every coach needs a coach. And me that is already in the executive coaching space is actively this year going to look at the right mentors, the right coaches to help me on my journey that I can trust as well. So that's definitely something one can elaborate on. And thank you for that beautiful feedback. And even if you didn't get that far, I think there's nice themes that you get there. And if we talk about this brutally honest feedback, you know that Bruce and Ian and my husband and so many people have taken that thing and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I hope you're not going to be affronted. But you know, people that can give me brutally honest feedback in love, I don't say about nasty people, no, I say people that can do it in a very nice way. You know, my trust level for those people just go incredibly high, just make a major, intense jump. So and the impact that it has and how it helps you and how it builds you, that's really incredible. And I hear what you say about the value as well, people willing to pay. And I think one of my blind spots is a friend that came to me what you are asking is not what you are worth. You are worth much more. And she demonstrated it to me, and someone else recently also told me the same thing. And where I had such a blind spot, and that was a positive blind spot to uncover in my life that helped me so, so much. But yes, the fears that we can look at is very interesting, and the opinions of others. And, you know, there's even a fear of success. Oh, if I create a success, can I really deal with that? Is people not going to think that I'm better than them, that I have a chip on my shoulder? And I have a big thing with that because I've had chips on my shoulder for a long time. I tend to say engineers are intellectual snobs, and I start to hate that. And I don't want that on my shoulders, but now we need to walk over in confidence. And I'm so scared that people again are going to put me in that box to say, you think too much of yourself, to be brutally honest with you on this group. So sometimes there is a little bit of a fear of success as well, and an interesting thing to look in the eye and work with. But thank you for going with me. Thank you for entertaining me and working me with this. I hope each of you are taking at least one thing back to work on this week, and would love to see you next month again. And with that, I'm handing over to Bruce.
Right. Round of applause. Well done. Tick. You can tick that box in your CV and your fears and everything else. Well done. Thank you very much. Hugely insightful. And I think that's one thing that most of the people here are people who give for a living. And I think one of the key things I recognize is that at the end of the day, my emotional bucket is empty, and I often don't have anybody to go to, and I don't have anybody to sit down and, you know, have that deep coaching conversation with. I can come home and chat to, you know, my wife. I can come home and do all that, but there has to be a coach's coach. And I think that is one thing that we really want to challenge everyone with that. All right, but just in closing, I found this nice little the sentence. It says, I don't want to get to the end of my life and find that I've just lived the length of it. I want to get to the end of my life knowing that I've lived the width as well. And I think that is quite nice, because we sit there, you know, and I want to fill my life like one does in a lycra suit. You know, you want to fill to the very ends. And it doesn't matter what you look like, as long as you fill to the ends of your life and do as much as you can. So I think we very much like-minded people, and I love this. I could sit here all night and chat and stuff. But a special thanks to our presenters tonight. Wilmien, thank you very much for braving and taking that big step. Brian, thank you very much for bringing your insights into your kind of weird mind and sharing that with us. That's awesome. And yeah, thank you very much for those who led and chatted and shared and were vulnerable. And may you go safely into the night and enjoy your sleep and ponder. And this group is open for any comments, Facebook, WhatsApp. If you want a one-on-one chat with Wilmien, she's offering a one-on-one chat with anyone to take this conversation further if you need to. That offers on the table from her, even if it's just one little point or something you just want to, there's an itch that needs to be scratched, or there's a scratch that needs to be itched, or whatever way of looking at that. Let's go with that and sort of do that. But yeah, welcome to the group, the newcomers, and may you be here for many, many months to come. So thank you. We will continue the conversation offline,